Our scripture reading this morning is from Luke 24, verses 13 through 16 and 28 through 32. Now, on that same day, two of them were going to a village called Emmaus, about 7 miles from Jerusalem, and talking with each other about all these things that had happened. While they were talking and discussing, Jesus himself came near and went with them, but their eyes were kept from recognizing him. As they came near the village to which they were going, he walked ahead as if he were going on. But they urged him strongly, saying, "Stay with us, because it is almost evening, and the day is now nearly over." So he went to stay with them. When he was at the table with them, he took bread, blessed and broke it, and gave it to them. Then their eyes were opened, and they recognized him, and he vanished from their sight. They said to each other, "Were not our hearts burning within us while he was talking to us on the road, while he was opening the scriptures to us?" May God bless those who heard the reading of his word. Amen. Amen.
This scripture is usually read after the resurrection or post-resurrection story, but I'm not one to abide by the rules all the time. Have you noticed? I don't know if that's a good thing, but that's my modus operandi. Anyway, I admit my eyes are often closed. I miss a lot of what's happening around me. Distractions occupy my mind. You know, we're more distracted in this ultra-electronic age than ever before, aren't we? But throughout history, there have been roadblocks to our awareness that have kept us from experiencing the truth and the life. Our news reports are often a live stream. When the police are in hot pursuit of a criminal, there are helicopters above capturing the live action every moment for us to see. In the old days, Walter Cronkite would talk about it that night. No helicopters, no live streaming. There's so much competition for our attention that the news reports are structured with the most shock appeal or the most sex appeal. We seek out the next big thing. We're bored by the mundane. Things that are serious become mundane. We look for the thing that's new, just a few moments old. We seek out the next big thing. Do you do Facebook? Who does Facebook? Come on. Admit it. I'm guilty. I can communicate with my Facebook friends in real time. I talk to friends in Nigeria and Zimbabwe and Kenya who are halfway around the world. I talk to friends from my previous churches in Tucson, like my friend Jane over here who's visiting us this morning. That's okay. It really is okay. Facebook can be a good thing. But in the midst of our conversations, we're also bombarded with ads and outrageous posts of which we must weigh in. I remember a piece of advice posted on Facebook. It said, and this is really important to understand this, don't believe everything you read on Facebook. And it was signed Abraham Lincoln. Now, in some ways, of course, Facebook is good. Social media can arouse us to action. I have to admit, though, that most of the stuff on Facebook is fluff. We become experts on how to filter out and zoom past things that are not on our radar. Pictures catch our attention. Bold language, bolded text, exclamation points are overused. Capitalization, that means you're screaming. Sometimes we miss a profound statement because it wasn't shouted at us, screamed at us. And in the meantime, the war in Sudan is old news. When's the last time you ever heard of anything going on in Sudan? Hundreds still die every day. The plight of the Sudanese is no longer newsworthy. The Sudanese Civil War is not only one of the bloodiest conflicts in the world today, it's also one of the most complex. Now that South Sudan is a new country, there are still skirmishes between the North and the South, as well as a new civil war spreading throughout the South on its own. World health is not necessarily newsworthy, but I did see this post on Facebook. What's the number one most dangerous animal in the world? The biggest killer, the animal in the world. What is it? Okay, who is it? Mosquitoes. Okay. Not humans. Mosquitoes. Mosquitoes. That's the biggest killer of human beings in the world. Now, what's the second? Human beings. That's tragic. Sometimes we have to sort past so much clutter to get to the truth. Candy Crush is much more popular than the war in Sudan. Here's some old news. I don't see any of this on recent Facebook posts or in the headline news. 22,000 people die each day from poverty-related issues, such as disease, hunger, and exposure to the elements. Back where I came from in Tucson, over almost 300 people died every year from exposure in the desert. 50% of pregnant women in developing countries lack proper maternal care, resulting in 240,000 maternal deaths annually from childbirth. A third of all childhood death in sub-Saharan Africa is caused by hunger. 66 million primary school-age children attend classes hungry across the developing world. 23 million in Africa alone. Every 10 seconds, a child dies from hunger-related disease. Jesus, you go on the road with us. Why don't we recognize you? Why do we ignore you? Is it because you're not shouting at us? Is it because we don't take time to quiet ourselves, to listen for that small, quiet voice within us? If we did, we would hear Jesus telling us what we must do. I was in Nairobi. I may have told this story before, but I was in Nairobi a few years ago, waiting to go up to northern Kenya. And in my hotel was this charming young man, gardener, and his name was Danforth. And he would scream around the corner when we were sitting having breakfast, and he'd stop at us. With a big smile, he'd say, "Good morning," every single morning, or when we'd see him on the hotel property. And one day I said, "Hey, when you're off work, let's go to lunch." So we did. We went up. I said, "Are there any good coffee shops, like restaurants?" And he goes, "Oh yes, I know one." So he brought me up to this restaurant coffee shop because it wasn't Starbucks. I've been, me in Starbucks. I need my fix. But it was really good. It was a really lovely cafe. And it looked out over the street in Nairobi, and it was wonderful to be there with Don Fuss. And we sat down and we ate, and he ordered chicken, and I ordered, of course, my coffee, and then he ordered a great big piece of cake. It was like as big as him almost. And we talked, and we enjoyed our meal. It's wonderful to sit down and have a meal with someone. It's the best way to get to know someone. And that's why we do meals together here. It's not so that we have something to eat, although that's important. But it's the fact that we get together and we sit around a table together and we talk and we get to know each other. It's so important. Anyway, back to Don Fuss and our time at that cafe. We were talking, he was telling me about his life, and he told me that a few years earlier he had to quit his job. He had to quit school, he had to quit school and moved to Nairobi over 2 hours away because his father had died. And he had to come and find a job in a hotel there at the age of 16 so that he could work and send money back to take care of his mom and his family. And of course, my heart was sinking hearing this story about Don Fuss, this lovely person. And I said, life must be hard for you, Don Fuss. And he said to me, life is very hard, Raleigh, but in it all, I'm still praising God. I'm still praising God. I learned more from that young man at that time than I've learned from every church I've ever attended on what it's like to know God. I came so that they may have abundant life, Jesus says to us. We are so blessed here in a safe, comfortable place. We have plenty of good food, clean water to drink. If we should get sick, there are several modern hospitals out there nearby. And many of us, our lives have been saved because of this. May we open our eyes, hearts, and souls and give thanks for the wonders that so often go unnoticed. These are miracles in our lives that we're able to go to a hospital and get cured after having a stroke. They give you a shot if you get there early enough, and you have no after effects from that stroke. Isn't that amazing? It's a miracle. Now, I've gotten lazy lately. I hope to become more faithful in the coming years. I used to do much more hands-on ministry. I find that reading things without meaningful human experience often gets in the way of what I'm supposed to do. I have to get out in the desert once in a while, or visit a refugee camp in Kenya, or a hospital in Zimbabwe, or a poor area in San Francisco, or Roseville, or Sacramento. I used to go out and distribute blankets along the border during the winter. Otherwise, the work becomes a job without faces. I'm often distracted by the work. Some days I sit in my office all day long with little human contact. It's necessary, but not fulfilling without conversations with others. I can't imagine working as a pastor without sitting with you at our meal. I try to get around to a different table every Sunday, so if you think I'm ignoring you, it might be because I just sat with you a week or so ago. So I'm trying to find somebody new, or somebody different, or someone I haven't had a meal with yet. Because it's in the faces of the people for whom the work is done, where the Spirit really resides, Otherwise, distributing tractor-trailer loads of blankets becomes just a matter of logistics without human contact along the way. And religion can be like that. I can be theological, biblical, and most holy, and not know Jesus when he's walking right next to me. It's good to donate socks. We often have sock appeals here. It's good to donate socks for our use here with the homeless and for border ministries. But it's eye-opening to go into the desert and witness the work. I've been on migrant trails. I've treated feet that were stripped of their skin from walking in the scorching desert. I was thankful that we had clean socks. You can't put a dirty sock back on a wounded foot. And I've encountered people who were hungry, thirsty, and frightened. I've met folks who've become separated from their families. I've helped search for them to no avail. In this suffering, I've had personal encounters with Jesus. And I knew it, that Jesus was right there walking with me. If I didn't know that, I wouldn't be able to do some of the things that I do. I visited a soup kitchen in Nogales. It's right on the border of Nogales, Arizona, Nogales, Mexico. It used to be just like, okay, you came and went. It's not like that anymore. It's located right on the border. The icy temperatures were surpassed only by the coldness of the place itself along that border. Armed agents maneuvered among the people, the concrete barriers, the walls, and the barbed wire. Many lanes of traffic, mostly on the Mexican side. Lines of people passed through the checkpoints. Vendors worked the crowds, hoping for the first sale of the day. There was a lot of human activity. But it's an unfriendly place, a militarized zone. Deportees are often dropped at the border with nothing. The Catholic soup kitchen is their first encounter upon entry. There they find friendly people and a warm place to gather their thoughts. People warm themselves with a hot cup of coffee and a good hearty breakfast. And they can pick out clean clothes, socks, and a blanket before they begin their journey back home. Home may be Central America. Folks from these places are often less welcome in Mexico than they are here. Only in these moments, when I sit face to face, sharing a meal with another human being, it's in these places that we find Jesus, who's been with us all along, often hidden from our eyes. When we sit at the table with a fellow human being, the distractions subside. We see each other. We become focused on the meal and the person across from us, with whom we share the bread, broken and blessed. Amen.
Amen.